What's up, everybody? So many of you have been asking me what I think of the LazyPeon review of Crowfall, and rather than just say the video is unfair, I'm going to break it down point by point, because some of the points he makes are very valid. There are some obvious glaring issues with the game that anybody could see, so I don't want to say that everything he said is not justified, but I think the review as a whole is unfair to what Crowfall is as a game. I think he just honestly didn't even give it a shake. Like, he didn't even play the game, really. Primarily, I think this is an issue of YouTubers YouTubing, meaning that the way YouTube is structured in terms of a time to value calculation, you're heavily incentivized to just make a rushed negative video than to sit down and spend a long time learning how the game works and how the game functions just to make a review that's not going to get as many clicks as this game is trash. Like, that's why you see every MMO YouTuber, every YouTuber that covers MMOs, it's almost always negative, because that's kind of that's like the path of least resistance, right? So I think that is primarily what's going on. But he does make some valid points, so we're going to go through them point by point. Let's get started.
Alright, Wood Elf Frostweaver. Bit of character customization, only 3 presets for the face, 5 different hairstyles. Okay, yeah, he looks frosty. Yeah, character customization, very limited indeed.
Alright, so his first criticism of the game is the character creation, and he's not wrong. There's not a ton of options here. However, you have to sort of keep in mind what Crowfall is and the scope of the game. Are you comparing Crowfall to a game that's got 5 to 10 times the budget? Because obviously a game that's got 5 to 10 times more of a budget is going to have more character creation options. They have the money to have the sliders and all that stuff. It's a ton of artwork to do all that stuff. So what are you comparing Crowfall to? Also, you have to keep in mind, Crowfall is a game where they have to, heavily optimize the character models because there's sometimes 200-man battles in this game. Yeah. Holy shit, look at all the fucking unicorns, bro. Oh my fucking god.
More coming.
Dude. So all those options, probably a lot harder to optimize that. But probably most importantly in this category is that the races in Crowfall are dramatically different. Most MMO races are 5 flavors of human. You have the tall humans, short humans, medium humans, red humans, blue humans. It's all humans. Whereas in Crowfall, the races are dramatically different. You have minotaurs and elkin and guinea pigs and Stoneborn. You've got all kinds of crazy stuff in Crowfall, and they all look dramatically different. So that means the character customization and the armor and all of that stuff all has to be different. Which means, yeah, you're not going to have as many options of human faces, right? So you have to keep that in mind, but you're not wrong. I would like to see more character creation options, and I'm sure this is something they'll expand on in the future. I mean, it seems like an easy enough feature just to keep tacking on new faces, new hairstyles, all that stuff as the game matures.
Starting out in the game, you need to select a starting world. This is where you level up and basically learn the game.
Alright, so here he goes entering God's Reach. God's Reach is intended to be the tutorial starter world for Crowfall. This is a place where you get to learn the game in relative safety and just figure out the mechanics in your own time. You're not immediately thrown to the wolves here. This whole world is designed for you to be able to learn the game at your own pace without just getting nuked by veteran players. It's great. I'm glad they added this because we didn't used to have this, and yeah, there were just brand new players learning the basics of the game, getting wrecked by veteran players. So that's the function of God's Reach. Now, I'm going to give a criticism that he didn't give. There are far too many God's Reach servers right now. At the launch of Crowfall, they had to spin up a whole bunch of these things because the zones were getting capped and the servers were blowing up, so they just needed more God's Reach servers. They never took them down. They still have the same amount of God's Reach servers up that they did at launch. They probably need to start taking these things down. There's just far too many to pick from. Population is fragmented, and once you do the tutorial and once you figure out the game, there's no reason to stay there. So he picked one of the many tutorial worlds. Picked the Australian one, which is not the most popular one, obviously. So that's part of the reason why he didn't run into that many players, because it's the tutorial world. Once you get done with the tutorial, you have no reason to stay there. And you also picked the Australian one. So that's part of the reason why you're not going to be seeing as many people as if you pick Dregs East. If you pick Dregs East, you're going to be seeing some people. You're going to be complaining about how many people you do see.
Oh god. Yeah, this is exactly what I did in this area the first time I played this game. I tried to skip the mobs here, and I got clapped. Not smart. So this is what happens when you die. You turn into a crow, and you have to fly to a resurrection shrine. If I press F, does it just teleport me to a statue? Yes, it does. So that's kind of pointless.
Alright, so he died. Now, as this video goes on, he's going to continue to die and further grow his hatred for the respawn mechanic in Crowfall. The respawn mechanic in Crowfall is very similar to a game like World of Warcraft where you have a run back, essentially. Now, why this exists in Crowfall is for a couple of reasons. Number one, it adds a strategy element to the game, because if you just immediately respawned where you were, or it was a very quick run back to get right back to where you were, then all of a sudden killing somebody in your land is not quite as impactful if they just show right back up, right? But if they have to, journey out there in the first place, now that it matters more. It matters when you kill people more if they just can't immediately appear right back where they died, obviously. But the crow mechanic, in terms of being able to fly around, actually matters, because you don't necessarily have to go to the most obvious respawn place. You could fly to another zone. In fact, this is a common strategy in Crowfall, is you'll get killed in this zone over here, but you can just fly way over here and respawn in your keep in a far other zone, or cap a respawn somewhere else and respawn there. That's a very common strategy in Crowfall. So the flying mechanic actually matters in this game. It's not just like a fun... I mean, it is fun, but it's not just in there for the sake of it. It actually does matter in the game.
I just hope this boring intro sequence isn't going to put off new players trying the game, because you're going to have to go through about 3 or 4 hours of fairly severe boredom to actually have fun with the game.
Okay, so the tutorial being boring really depends on where you are in terms of your MMORPG and Crowfall experience. For players like me and other veteran MMO players, yeah, the tutorial's probably going to be pretty boring. Why? Because we're not really learning anything. But when I watched my fiance do it, she was having a lot more fun, because she was actively learning how the systems work and how this genre works, to be honest. Good job, babe.
Is he dying?
Yes, you're doing great. Holy shit. Oh! Yes! My queen! Not everybody's coming into Crowfall, having played MMOs for the last 15 years. Yeah, for people like me and you, it's going to be boring, because we're not going to be learning a ton. I still recommend everybody do it, because you are going to learn some of the weird oddities of Crowfall. But, yeah, the tutorial, if you're a veteran gamer, yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff you just kind of know because you know it. But if you don't know it, then you don't know it. So it's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you don't make the tutorials for the biggest noobs, then the biggest noobs are going to get lost. And if you make the tutorials for veteran MMO players, then the newest players are not going to know what's going on. So, yeah, the tutorial, if you're a veteran player of Crowfall, or you've played a lot of these kind of games, there's going to be a lot of redundant stuff to you. It's just not for you. So, yeah, you kind of have to suck it up and get over it.
This is the bank, is it? How do you make such a shit user interface? Holy fuck. How is that the bank? As a UI designer, who looks at this and says, yeah, that's a nice looking bank?
So his criticism of the bank is definitely a little harsh. He has some points, but the bank is in alphabetical order. It is searchable. You can categorize it by weapons, armor, account goods, and whatnot. There is some organization there, but I would like to see it expanded a little more. I personally would love to see some checkboxes for like leather armor, mail armor, plate armor, maybe like mining goods, skinning goods, like that kind of stuff. I'd love to see a little checkbox system implemented, but it's really not that bad. I mean, I don't know, it's pretty usable to me, but again, it's one of those things where it becomes more usable as you get more experience in the game. But I think that criticism might have been a little overblown, just a little bit.
So this is a fort that's just been captured. As you can see, it seems to be building up some walls. The fact that there's no walls built a fair few hours after it's been captured kinda indicates to me that there's not a whole lot of players that really care.
So here he goes capturing forts and outposts. Keep in mind, he's still in the tutorial world. Everything here is meant to just show you how it works and what it looks like. Nobody cares. He's not wrong. Nobody cares about this stuff because it really doesn't matter. I promise you, if you go into the actual game, the actual Guild vs. Guild worlds, and you go to an active fort, you're gonna find some people. You're gonna find too many people, probably. And you, that might be your next complaint is you're gonna be like, there's too many people.
Yo, clear comms here, clear comms.
Get past boy. I'm rushing out on us.
Don't get pushed off the ledge. Move to the west if you're gonna move.
Oh no! Oh no!
Move to the west. Move to the west. Move to the west.
Keep moving west.
Oh, Lord, I'm dead as fuck, dog. I'm fucking dead! Ah!
Additionally, I haven't seen a single other player talk in faction chat, kingdom chat, zone chat, or even general chat.
Okay, so nobody's using the chat. Why is that? Well, primarily because he's in the God's Reach Australia 1 tutorial world. It's not exactly a poppin' hot zone for the game long term. So, that's most of it. But also, I'm going to complain, even though he didn't. The chat window's not great. A lot of people do not use the in-game chat. It needs some work. From their point of view, a lot of people use Discord, so are they going to invest a ton of time in making this chat window amazing? No, but it definitely needs to be better. Like, it definitely needs to be better. Whispers in the game are terrible. The chat window largely goes unused by a lot of the community because it's bad. So I will come out and tell you the chat window's not great, but the reason you're not seeing people talk in general is because you're in Tutorial World Australia 1. That's why. If you go in Dregs, you're going to see some people in general chat probably talking shit, but welcome to PvP games.
I can't think of a single reason to play this over Guild Wars 2. You've essentially taken 5 or 6 years to make a worse version of just Guild Wars 2's World vs. World mode.
So he goes on to say that there's no reason to play Crowfall over Guild Wars 2 World v World, which I think is kind of comical because there are entire Crowfall guilds that come from Guild Wars 2 World v World that are playing Crowfall for that exact reason. So, you might think that. From his perspective, if I had only played 50% of the tutorial in God's Reach Australia 1, I could maybe believe that. You know, if I hadn't played the game before and didn't know anything about the game, then maybe. But anybody that's played the game can immediately tell you that's not true. So I'm going to tell you. Number one, the character creation and the character customization in terms of builds, the building characters in Crowfall is pretty incredible. I have spent, I don't even know how much time creating and thinking about character builds in Crowfall. I've been playing this game for, years and years, and I still see stuff that is brand new. Literally yesterday, I got killed by an Elkin Abominable Snowman Bow Knight. That's something I never saw it coming. It blew me away that this guy killed me with this wacky build that I just never even knew that was possible. So that happens in Crowfall all the time. I see people doing weird, wacky stuff that I never thought of all the time, and it's cool because there's so many combinations and possibilities and things that are viable because there's so many different scenarios that can happen in a game like Crowfall. So that is one huge reason. Guild versus guild PvP. There aren't really that many games where your guild is your faction. You can be a nomadic guild of 10 people that just kills everybody you see, or you can be a bigger guild that politics with other guilds and makes alliances and whatnot. You're not forced to play with people you don't want to play with. If you don't like that guy, kick him from your guild, kill him. Like, it's completely free form. Open, you make the decisions. Not too many games you can do that. The closest thing is probably Albion, and that's a 2D game. That's really the closest game to a game like Crowfall is Albion Online. Number 3, you have extensive crafting and marketplaces. If you're a crafter and you want to be known as the badass crafter or, the econ guy, Crowfall is a great game for that because the crafting is very in-depth. It requires cooperation between multiple players. If you want a game where the community and your social connections actually matter, Crowfall is definitely it. And number 5, it meant PvP with inventory loot, man. It's fun to kill people and take their stuff. Fork over the gold. I gotta kill this guy before the raid boss dies because I want to loot the raid boss too. Or the captain, sorry. Dude, he had 4,000 gold! Holy shit, dude! Holy fucking shit, dude! Oh, that's a sad boy right there. He had 4,300 gold. Oh no. Oh no. And he's right by the bank, dude. He's right here. The bank is right here. Oh no. The bank is right there. No. It's fucking 30 seconds away. You can't do that in Guild Wars 2. Most of the PvP that you're seeing in MMOs is not actually impactful. It's just battleground blenders. It's just battleground meat grinders where it's like, yeah, we're doing PvP. and there's not actually any impact. There's no winners and losers. There's no, like, in Crowfall you can lose and it sucks, and you can win and it's awesome. Like there's not too many games where you can just go and take somebody's keep that they spent weeks on, or you can defend your keep and you win because you've done it. Like, anybody that's had that experience in the game, anybody that's had that Crowfall moment sticks around. So, yeah, I heavily disagree with the Guild Wars 2 statement. It's just very ironic.
If I turn into a bird and have to fly to a statue every time you die to a player, then yeah, that's just a massive deal breaker.
It's a deal breaker? You don't think that's a little bit of a stretch? Are we putting it on a little bit for YouTube here? He really doesn't like the crows, man. I don't know.
The map freezes every single time you open it, and in a PvP game where you're constantly glancing the map to see what objectives to go to, it feels unplayable.
So he's not wrong about the map lag sucking. It absolutely sucks, but I want to give a bit of a technical explanation of why it lags. So the thing with Crowfall, unlike most MMOs, is that the world actually changes. Every campaign in Crowfall is different. That means that every time a new campaign comes up, you need to go and explore the world, figure out where all the stuff is, and it's different every time, which is dope because you have a lot of replayability there. You have to do that exploration phase every time. It's a whole fresh start. Nobody knows anything. It's super cool. But the problem with that is that the map is not a JPEG. Every other MMO, for the most part, they make a zone, and that zone is the same for 10 years. The map is a JPEG. They paste it on there, and your little character runs, and there's nothing going on there. With Crowfall, every time you open the map, it has to dynamically figure out the zone. It's got to figure out the way the zone is configured. Then it's got all the objectives, all the outposts that are currently being captured, all the forts, the hot zones. There's a lot going on with the Crowfall map, but primarily it's because the zones are dynamic and they actually change. So the map's got to work a little bit harder in a game like Crowfall than it does for most games. I've been told they are working on this, so hopefully we get a solution to this, but you're not wrong that the map sucks. Like, the map loading does suck. He's 100% right. But that's why it sucks. It sucks because the game is awesome in other ways.
12 different races to the game. That was a priority for launch, was it? 11 different classes. You've had to design armor that fits on 12 completely different races, both male and female options. How was that a priority?
So this criticism really pains me because I genuinely think he would enjoy this about Crowfall if he actually got past the tutorial and, like, played the real game. But for the most part, everybody that's gotten into making Crowfall builds and creating characters and spec groups and things loves this aspect of the game. It's probably one of the strongest parts of the game, is that you can make very unique builds and very unique spec groups and all the synergies going on there. It's really cool. People have spent thousands and thousands and thousands of hours theory crafting this, me included. It's a great part of the game, and I think Crowfall should double down on it. I think they should have more crazy races and more crazy classes. So it just pains me because I genuinely think he would love it, because making characters in this game, it's not like World of Warcraft where it's like, well, I'll spec Slam or Bladestorm. Like, it's not like that. You have a lot of options, and there are a lot of really cool things you can do. And I see brand new stuff every day, so that criticism pains me because it's so off base.
There's no way I'm going to be able to show a siege or anything in Crowfall because, number one, there's not enough players. Nobody's playing the game. The game's dead.
They're getting farmed. They're getting farmed, dude. Yo, they're breaking. Yo. Fuck these idiot stuff, dude. Yo, push.
I'm falling. I fell.
Looking on Jonah.
If you're low, jump back.
Guys, in the back. Some people. Oh my god. No, we have to push through. Push all the way through.
Group in the back.
Okay. Turn back around.
It's about 15 in the back.
Okay. Cover our guys. We're here. Move back.
I think this Lazy Peon video is a clear case of YouTubers YouTubing, and I say that as someone that's done this before. I used to do YouTube as my full-time job, and I don't care who you are, everyone does the calculation of, is this video worth the amount of time it takes to make versus the money it's going to make? And the thing with a game like Crowfall is that you're probably going to have to put like 100 hours into the game to see what it's about. Is that video going to make its money back? I mean, maybe, probably not. Because the thing of it is that if you make a legitimate review, it's probably not going to get as many views as a "this is the worst game ever" kind of review. So I think that's what's going on here. Do I think the game has some flaws? Obviously. If you go on my stream and watch, you might not even think I like the game. I do like the game, but I complain about it a lot too. God, that's dumb as fuck. That's dumber than a bag of fucks. I think it just kind of goes with the territory. Anyway, there's my rant. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Just be careful where you're getting your information from. If you're getting your information from people that are literally negative about every single thing on their YouTube channel, that might not be the best place to get it, regardless of the sources. I'm not even calling out LazyPeon in particular. There are like 20 people where their entire channel is just negative about every game is shit. So just be a little, be aware that this is some people's shtick. That's their whole fucking thing. So maybe check out the Twitch streams of these various games that people are calling terrible and actually ask the actual players what they think of the game. So, yeah, I'm going to leave you guys with some Siege footage and some footage of people having fun in the game. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.
And they're back. They're breaking. They're showing us their backs. They don't understand. They don't understand what they've done, boys. They don't get it. They don't fucking get it, boys.
Oh my god, dude.
Except that it corrupts and consumes everything in its path. And, yes, sorry, help you with what? In the fridge. Yeah, so, no, this is the thing about when I'm working, right? So, like, I'm at work, and some yogurt, right? Well, I figure you could probably grab the yogurt by yourself, and, alright. Not much is known about it, except that it corrupts and consumes.
Did we just do it to him? Did we just do it to him? Yeah, we just did it to him.
He probably doesn't even have anything, to be honest. I guess. Oh! Do you see how much gold this dude had?
From my point of view, the entire appeal of the MMO genre is that if you design a game well, you can potentially have infinitely replayable content if you can make player interaction, cooperation and conflict the focus of the content in a way that's dynamic and make players feel like they're part of a changing world. But the world isn't changing because of some lame scripted patch. The world is changing because of decisions made by a large group of players. That to me is the direction we need to head in to start realizing some of this genre's potential.
Maybe you should try out Crowfall.